Welcome, in front of me is a OPPO Reno 12 Pro, and today I will show you a couple tweaks and tricks you can do on this device. So let's just start off by opening up our settings, and in here we can navigate to the first option, which is the Wallpaper and Style. Now this is a general area where you can customize the look and feel of your device, and we have some common things in here like wallpapers as an example, but it's actually giving you more options than you'd expect. So we have themes in here. Now you do need to be signed in, and you can download new ones from the store. It's showing me only the default one right here, but I can get more. We have always on display customization right here, so you can have some kind of images. I believe you can also add your own somehow, or might not be. Anyway, we also have icon packs. This device comes with several pre-installed ones, but obviously if you download more icon packs, they should show up right here, and from there you can obviously enable them and also customize them. So we can remove labels, we can change the sizes and stuff like that. So again, it gives you a lot of customization over your icons. And then below that we have animation for our fingerprint scanning. You can actually view them in here, so when you tap on them it will show you the animation. And unlike a lot of devices, here we have a pretty decent list of different animations, and they look pretty decent. Additionally, if you don't want any kind of animation, you can just kind of get rid of it. I'm gonna keep this one as it looks pretty decent. Now another thing here is the colors. So this allows you to change the accent colors all around your device. The one that is selected is basically the default one for majority of the Androids, but you can choose one here, and additionally you have the option to select it based on the wallpaper. So this will automatically cycle through different presets that it's going to create based on the wallpaper that you have. For me, it's picking it from the default wallpaper. So we have a bunch of dark colors and just kind of purplish, as that's kind of what dominates in that wallpaper. Primarily, well, actually dark, but there is some purple accents, so that's why they're showing up here. On the camera, it's kind of hard to see this, but for instance, this one does include some purple. For some reason, the camera, this looks blue. This is actually purple. So completely disregard this. I don't know why the camera coloring is just way off. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, this is wild. I'm looking at a screen that basically shows me the feed from the camera and it just looks insane. This is undeniably blue on camera. Anyway, moving on, let's move over to home screen and lock screen, and here we have a couple options. So number one, I have the home screen mode. By default, I believe this is in drawer mode, which is what I personally prefer, but if you like the kind of Apple-esque feel to your device, you can turn that off and it will give you basically the standard mode, which has all the applications smack in the middle of your home screen. Personally, don't like it as it's just kind of cluttering my home screen, but obviously if you're a fan of that, you can enable it in here. Then we have also icon pull down gesture. So this is one-handed mode. This is the only one-handed mode that you'll find in here, and I do want to point out I have tried using this, and it's just kind of iffy. Sometimes you will get it, sometimes you don't. Honestly, if you like one-handed mode, you can enable it, but if you're just kind of looking for it for some convenience, more convenient will be to shift your hand, to be absolutely honest, and then just naturally click on the icon without using this. Now, moving on, I'm looking for one more option that I think is located in here. I haven't actually checked for it before. There we go. Swipe down on home screen. So it's this one, and it by default is selected to shelf, but there is one option that I personally love, which is the notification drawer. So once enabled, you can swipe down and it gives you your notifications along with the toggles, obviously. Pretty neat option. I personally utilize this all the time, so that's one thing that I love. Now, going back to the main settings page, we can now move over to display and brightness, and in here we have things like the light and dark mode. It's selected light right now, but you can choose it, and this will permanently switch from either light to dark. But below that we have schedule. This allows you to select it so it automatically switches between dark and light mode based on the time of day or on a custom timer. So it just gives you this kind of ease of mind that when you wake up, you want to check the time on your phone and you just press the power button, you're not getting flashbanged by your phone. Now below that we have a screen color mode. By default all the devices are, almost all devices are set to vivid, and so is the case here. I personally find vivid to be a little bit too colorful, so I personally like natural on most of the devices. Now natural tones down the colors, makes the white, or which you presumed was white, a more yellowish in appearance, and if you were to use this for some time and then enable vivid, the white would actually look bluish in appearance. So just a kind of fun fact. But anyway, that's one that I prefer more, as most of the devices that use vivid mode tend to just oversaturate colors to the ridiculous extent, and one of those devices, or brands to be honest, is the Samsung ones. The colors there are just so saturated that when you're looking at specific images, they just look unnatural, almost radioactive in terms of like how they're glowing, things that really shouldn't be having such a amount of brightness and vibrancy from them. So anyway, like I said, I personally like the natural, and here you can select whichever mode you like, and we do have also pro mode. So this is cinematic is using a P3 gamut, and then brilliant uses whitest color gamut for brightest color. Okay, then basically just a mumbo jumbo, doesn't really say anything, but you can check both of those. Cinematic is actually very similar to the natural, as you can see, though the reds and a bit of orangish is being toned down on the natural, and brilliant is equivalent to, well, even more saturated vivid. Fantastic. We needed more saturation. So anyway, I'm gonna stick with this one. Now moving on, we have a couple of display options. So we have bright HDR video mode. So this just tries to increase the brightness of the display for HDR content. Now this is, I believe, if it actually detects that the content is HDR, so it also needs to have, I believe, certified applications, something to keep in mind. And scrolling a little bit further down, we have the screen refresh rate, and we have it set right now to auto select, which is going to be the best option but for people that want to prioritize battery life, you might want to select it to standard. This will give you slower refresh rate, so content might look a little bit more choppy. You have a great example right here how they differ, though this is exaggerated difference. I want to point that out, it's not actually this bad, but you can see that one looks smooth while the other one just kind of like jumps. Now this looks like, honestly, like 7 frames per second, not 60, but for some people don't really see a difference between these. So for those people selecting standard, you'll get a better battery life, and obviously if you can't really see a difference, then you're not sacrificing anything. And like I mentioned, this is an exaggerated difference. You have 60 frames, which 60 is what you have on most phones that were released like several years back. So high refresh rate is only on devices for not that long, maybe like 3-4 years now. So obviously if you have a device that is older, you're most likely running it at 60 right now, because they didn't support anything higher. And obviously if you don't see a difference, you get battery life for basically no sacrifice. Now sticking with the other crowd that actually sees the difference, auto select will be the best option, as it will choose the best refresh rate for whatever you're trying to do. So if you're moving something, or if there's any moving content on the screen, it will automatically opt into a 120 Hz refresh rate, giving you that nice smooth motion. But when there's nothing moving on the screen, like right here, it will drop down to 60, giving you better battery life. So you have basically both worlds. Under no circumstance would I recommend selecting the 120 Hz. It's going to run it permanently at this refresh rate, and obviously waste a lot of battery when you're viewing content like this that just isn't really moving, and there's really no reason for it to be running at this refresh rate. Now one last thing, or maybe two last things, let's see. So under notifications and status bar, we have a status bar, and here, unlike most devices, you actually have the option to disable a bunch of different things that are visible in your status bar. This is something that I absolutely love when devices actually have, but unfortunately most phones don't have this. So when they do, I would love to obviously showcase this. So these basically are all the toggles that you can have visible in your status bar as long as you are using them. So as an example, if I were to enable, Bluetooth is actually enabled. Let's see, what else can I enable? Let's say do not disturb mode. Yep, turn on. There we go. You can see we have a do not disturb mode, and actually there we go. We have a Bluetooth icon right here, so I'm just blind. So in here, you can scroll down. Boom, do not disturb mode. It's gone. Bluetooth, done. So it just allows you to hide icons from the status bar only. But as you can see, if you pull down your notifications, it's still enabled. It's just not showing up. And if you're the type of person that always has Bluetooth enabled, you probably don't care to see that it's enabled. It's just cluttering your status bar. And I'm a fan of just clean and minimal look, so this basically allows me to achieve that. Additionally, we have things like the battery percentages, so you can choose how the battery is being displayed in your status bar. I do like the option that is selected by default with the battery and percentage inside of it, but you can have it outside if it's, for instance, harder for you to see, or you can just remove the number from it altogether and just have a battery. We also have the battery style, so here we have the horizontal, vertical, loop, and basically no battery, so you could have only number. And lastly, we have the notifications. So by default, it's going to show notifications, I believe like three or four notifications. That's how much it can fit in here. But what you can do is change it to something like, for instance, a number. So this will tell you how many notifications you have in total, but it won't actually show you each individual icon for the notification. But you can still view it once you pull down your notifications. You can see them here. And there's last option, which is just don't show them at all. So it won't be showing obviously anything here. Probably not advised if you get some kind of notifications, you have no way of knowing about it till you just pull down your notifications to check if you have something, which is adds a step that you don't really need. The number is sufficient enough in my opinion, but obviously if you're looking for that absolutely like minimal look, you can get rid of it. Last thing would be the gesture navigation. I've been using buttons for this entire video, but we do have gesture navigation, and I believe it's under system and update and system navigation. There we go. And we can select gestures and just learn them, and we can close it. Unfortunately, you cannot enable them without learning it. So if you never used gestures before, it adds this bar at the bottom. You swipe up on it to go home, you swipe up and hold to go to recent, and you can swipe from either side to go back. Now when you swipe here, as you can see, it brings up this arrow. If you want to cancel it because maybe you just kind of wanted to tap something and you kind of swiped a little bit, you can just move your finger back and it cancels it. Now additionally in here, in this section right here, we can hide the bar from being visible. So hide gesture guide bar, and it just gives you again cleaner look to your device. It doesn't change the usability of gestures whatsoever, so you still swipe up to go home, swipe and hold to go to recent, and so on. Now when it comes on to debug gestures though, they do not disappear, so you still have this little bar or this kind of like weird thing showing up on the side. So anyway, with that being said, this would conclude the tweaks and tricks I want to show you. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.